Legends and Super Legends. I'm heading out. It's probably 5:45 right now, thereabouts, and I'm gonna head out to go and meet Team RR. Alan's supposed to be joining us. I didn't hear from Paul, so I guess maybe he'll meet us there. But anyway, I hope you guys get a chance to hit your K's in. I'll get some clips for you. It has been very, very hot. It's supposed to be like 100 degrees Fahrenheit today. So I'm wearing my lightest kit, light shorts and everything. Now on this ride, I left Northampton, and as soon as I hit the street out of my area, Paul was in his truck. He was running late. So I just told him to drive to the start of the ride. So he met me there. We picked up the group. Paul was there, Alan was there. We headed out on 1488 West. We went, there's a loop there that's 149 through an area called Karen. And you can see the Shark's Tooth. We're climbing. We get out to Keenan. And we had a bunch of attacks before we got to Montgomery. So it's going to be really interesting. After Montgomery, we went to Dacus. It ended up being just a long, epic ride. And we came back using Bobville there, which is 149, all the way back through Gary there to Karen. That's back to 1488 East. We had a tailwind from the southwestern part of the U.S., so we had low humidity, and we turned out some awesome speeds. So I hope you all enjoy the clips. We're rolling out of the parking lot. That's Alan on my right there. That's Paul. So Paul drove to the lot, because he didn't get to me early enough, and I really needed to ride to the You were sitting there with your light blinking. I was like, don't tell me somebody I was having car trouble this morning. I was like, man, I didn't realize it was you until I got up next to you. So he had his hazard blinking, and I thought somebody had a problem with the truck. I didn't realize it was him. So he went ahead and drove here, and by the time I got there, they were ready. It's not. It's the actual subdivision, the one in the middle on North Crest. That's actually the neighborhood association when that pools. Yeah, Paul's talking about the water. The water on my street. It's just all over the street. They're watering the median and just wasting water. Yeah, they're running too long. And so just water. Get up in the morning, there's water all over the street because the median can't handle it.
You sort of warm up. Yeah, it was good. I saw quite a few cyclists out. Everybody's going out early.
So this is one of our first 100-degree days, I believe, out of first or second. But
I just ignored him.
We're scheduled to have a lot of 100-degree days until this upcoming Tuesday. Then it will drop a little below. But with the low humidity, it's very tolerable. It's actually ended up being just a very, very nice day. The humidity was about 50%, and last week was 94%, so a big difference. I'm wearing a bandana which keeps the sweat out of my eyes. It's made out of some Cool Max material. I hesitated to try that in the heat, but it ended up working out great. I took it out on this ride, and it was perfect. It kept the sweat out of my eyes. I don't like headbands because they kind of move around. And most of my sweat comes from my head, not just my brow. And I'm sure it's probably true for most people. So I much rather have my head covered. And this is designed to absorb your perspiration. So it was perfect. So nothing was on my glasses, nothing was getting in my eyes. It was just great. And it's made out of Cool Max material. Very breathable.
I just did two because I wanted to do the one to finish up that bike thing, and then I want to do that one for Abel. He had a good ride in the top end tour.
Yeah, that was the first.
Yeah, Paul was commenting on the videos I released before this ride.
Rhythm,
Yeah.
and I just kind of worked him in there. And that was his emphasis. He said he focused on keeping his cadence 70 or above. 36 on the rear. He had to get a special thing to keep it from touching his.
I like that.
We're talking about Abel's gearing. There's Victor.
But I like the way you respond to Francois' comment.
Oh, my bad. Which one was that?
The one that said, what state do you drive?
I stay on the road because the shoulder here just ends. You can see the curve blocking it at every intersection. So I just stay on the road. We got 2 lanes. It's smoother anyway. I just stay there. I ended up having such good legs today. I had to go back and review how my week went. I felt better on the bike than I expected. They're not that far ahead. It's just the camera's wide angle makes it appear like that.
Sweat on my eyes. Very hot and humid this week. It's the hottest week I've had all year.
So that's Victor on the left up there, and that's Mike on the right. I ended up turning off my light when we got to the parking lot, my rear light. Mine is just very bright, and when you're in close proximity to other people, it kind of bothers their eyes. It's different when you're moving. I just turned it off. We've got enough people with lights. So I like to save it anyway for my ride after the ride. I ended up hitching a ride with Paul after this ride from the parking lot. I rode back with him so we could just kind of ride back and chat. That's why if you look at the Strava, I start in Northampton and end at Crust Pizza. Somewhere around here, I believe Adam has a flat. We end up stopping. I stopped the camera. I think it's somewhere around here we find it.
Victor!
Right there. So somebody said flat and somebody said flat tire. So people pull into this little driveway here. So we stop as a group when there's a mechanical. That's the rule of this group, and it just makes sense. So right here, I had turned off the camera. We're waiting. So he's fixed the flat. Now we're taking off again.
Going back? Yeah,
We ended up having 2 people have flats on this ride. There's another one. It was a loud one. He had a sidewall cut. And it exploded. I mean, you heard "pow," and that comes up a few miles down the road, down the highway. That's a shot of my bandana. It's not a very good shot, but you'll get more. It ended up working really well, and
I'm not
I was a
weak.
bit apprehensive about covering my head because my
No,
body
I don't
heats
know
up.
what she said. What she said.
But that thing, I like it so much that I'm gonna try to get a
Maybe
couple
she
of other
meant tell the
colors
wing. But we're rolling.
because it just kept the sweat out of my eyes. I'm gonna be wearing it more. I like it better than even the cycling caps because you put it on and you just forget that it's there. The material is so thin, it does not interfere with the feel of your
Yeah,
helmet.
I'll take the win. Yeah, I'll take the win.
So we're talking about the heat and the wind, and I told Paul I would take the wind any day of the week over a hot day. I'd much rather the wind be blowing and slowing me down to cool me off than to be hot. But this morning ended up being so pleasant. It says 24C. It actually felt like probably 20C. Just very nice. The wind is in our face from the west. It's blowing from the west-southwest. I turn the camera around here. Got a good shot of Mike. He's saying good morning there. Mike's really cool. The big guys can handle the speeds on the flat so well that I'm going to do some research and do a video on it.
Let's go.
This guy doesn't go at the light, so we just go around him. It's like he's going straight. He just doesn't move. I don't know what he's doing in the car. It's a short light, so we had to go. So he just queued in behind us. He's not in a hurry. It's Saturday morning. But what I was saying was I'm going to do some research and put a video together about why is it the little guys struggle on the flats in the wind and the big guys thrive on a flat road, bigger riders generally. And then vice versa, you know, we know about watts per kilo when you're climbing. So I'm going to do something and put something together in the Veloharmony style that will cover that topic and do it justice. Well, the styling
Did he
of
get it sorted
Veloharmony.
out?
Yeah. Annoying.
What was the problem?
That's the guy who had the flat Adam.
Okay.
I said, you got it sorted out. He said it was annoying. He said, my tire just went flat. You know, it is annoying, but it happens. So, in fact, after this ride, I carried 2 tubes on the Sunday ride. I rode with them. This is Sunday. I'm doing this part of the narration, and I rode with the same guys. It was a shorter ride. But I've got my lightest kit on. I've got, in terms of the weight, the shorts are the Rafa lightweight shorts, and I've got the flyweight, the new flyweight jersey I did the review on, and then white socks, white shoes. They had announced, oh, it's going to be 100 degrees and blah, blah, blah. So I just expected it to just be stifling because last Saturday was so hot. We stopped here for a car to go by. But then this morning ended up being like a day you would find in somewhere in California. Just a cool morning. And that's where the wind is coming from. That's where we're getting the heat from, is from like the desert southwest. So we're getting desert heat, which is dry heat. So it's a lot more tolerable than our sticky. When it's southeast, we have a lot of humidity. When it's southwest, we have the heat, but we have dry air. And I'll take that. It's so much more pleasant. So we ended up having a nice tailwind coming home at the end of this ride. It was a nice change. But most of the summer, the wind blows from the southeast, from the Gulf of Mexico. That's what makes it sticky down. So this is a nice change. But this brings higher temperatures because I guess the dry air heats up quicker. So we cut through these neighborhoods to avoid, and that's what I'm finding about these guys, which is similar to what Paul and I do. We only use busy roads when we have to. They cut through these roads because you can have a conversation, and this is the warm-up part of the ride. It's probably about 35 minutes into the ride, something like that, because I rode about 30 minutes or so to meet them. I found a way to get some really nice rear shots with the camera. I shared that with Paul. That's what you see me doing here. I'm always trying different things, and I really like the flexibility of the gimbal. The variety of shots. We're not just stuck with one view. it makes people feel more involved, like they're riding
They're gonna
with
go
us.
1488, then 149, and then come back
We're
east.
talking about the course.
That last highway with the stop at the red light.
1488 is a busy farm to market road, but it has a wide shoulder, almost about half the width of this road we're on.
I was talking to him and say he just had a flat.
That's Alan on the left. He's got his
Yeah, that's what
Velo
Mary said. She
P5.
said we're done.
I did a review. He allowed me to do a review of that bike when he brought it for service. Time trial machine. There's Paul on his giant Propel, I believe, is what the model. You notice that Paul chose the Giant today, so he wore a blue kit to go with the frame. I do that when I can as well. It just seems to look cool.
Left turn.
And he's got the white socks that's complementing the white lettering in the jersey. That's Bob across the street there pushing that light to get this thing to change for us. Because those the strips in the pavement, you see those lines in the pavement? That's to pick up vehicles, and that's not going to change for us. It doesn't pick up bicycles very well.
You gotta let us know like that.
And we don't have a car behind us. Short light. And I'm sure a bunch of you have been through it where you ride one day and let's say you hammer, and then the next day you go for a ride and it's almost like your body forgets to go hard. You know, the body forgets real quickly when you skip training as far as when it comes to intervals, you know, hitting those high zones. You got to remind the body. I learned that early on in my cycling from Greg LeMond's book that he wrote with Kent Gordis, where he talked about you've got to wake up your body after a day off. And that's why nowadays the pros don't even take a day off during those tours. They go for a little ride. But the body forgets it. You know, it's just your metabolism. The body forgets that real quickly when you're not working hard. So just remember that, you know, one day you're flying and you're hitting all the zones, and then the next day, as soon as you get to that zone, it seems hard. Well, just give yourself time. You know, hit the zone, recover, and then after a few minutes, it will feel better. So the first time, it's almost like even Victor made the joke this morning's ride on Sunday when I'm doing this narration. The first effort we made as we were playing, and he said, clean out the pipes. That's another way to look at it. Wake up the legs, clean out the cobwebs, whatever. So your first effort always feels hard. And then after that, you're ready to go. You're letting the body know, okay, this is what we're going to do today. It's the same thing. That's why when you do hard rides or events, you want your warm-up to be more intense. So that's Dan up there pulling. It's early in the ride. I've been eating and, you know, just fueling myself, getting ready for hour 2 and 3 for the most part. Since I ride from the house, when I ride with these guys, I bring a lot of food along. I bring more than I think I'll need. And I also bring my Vitalite so that when we stop, all I need is water in one bottle and Vitalite in another. To replace your electrolyte, because we do a lot of sweating in our area here when it's very humid. Even on this ride where the air was drier, there was a lot of perspiration on my legs, and they get into your socks and your shoes. So after I ride, I put my shoe outside in the sun if the weather is favorable, so that it can dry out. That will prevent your shoes from smelling. If you can't put it outside, stick some newspapers in it to absorb the perspiration, because your socks get wet when it's hot and you perspire a lot, and then transfer to the shoe. So don't forget that. That's where those smells come from. It stays damp too long, and then bacteria starts growing. That's what makes it smell. So even though Alan's on his bike here, if you notice, we're not really in a tight pace line. See how much room he has between him and Mary? People are still talking. You saw when I turned the camera around. The pace is not hard right now. So we're just kind of rolling along. So most of the time he will be in that position at the front or at the back. I've ridden with Alan enough to where I'm pretty comfortable following him. I'm a little to his left, just sitting there. You can see my cadence is not very hard. We're not going hard. I don't consider it to be hard. It's like zone 2. There's a lot of debris here, people pointing out little things. The more significant the debris is when I'm riding, I put my hand out longer. You know, like there was a little metal bar on this ride, on this road down the road, and I made sure everybody was aware of it, because you don't want your mates to ride over a metal bar, because some of those things can flip up and either hit them in the leg or get caught in their spokes and cause a wreck. You can see the perspiration on my arm right there, but it does not feel very sticky. This is why I showed Paul how I was getting this shot, because sometimes when you turn the camera around, it gets more of your body. And so I showed him how I was leaning it to the side, and the gimbal just compensated by allowing it to lean almost at a 45-degree angle from my bars. So just nice little things I play with. You know, and I do those when the effort is not very difficult. Dan's still up there pulling. Bob's behind Dan. Bob has not been riding much. And Mary's behind Bob. And Alan, and I'm sitting to the left of Alan. People behind me are still riding two abreast. I think Dan's pulling off the front. Dan just got back from the triple bypass ride in Colorado. That's the New Jersey that he got from the event. As I've explained before, you can see the camera represents where my eyes are. I can see all the way up there. I can see what's coming. By the time their warnings come, I already know what's on the road, what hazards may be there, because I'm constantly looking around the people I follow. The warnings are a courtesy. Don't depend on that. Pay attention, look around, saves wheels, saves surprises. That's the way to ride. You are responsible for knowing where your wheels are going. So you can see my view. The effort went down in the stretch. My heart rate went down accordingly. It's a flat road. Not really sure why it went down. The wind died down a little because I'm not drafting that condition. I'm not sure if it's here, but in a little while, I think Bob, who is behind Dan, ends up pulling out of the line. The road has a slight grade at this point. It might be 0.6 or something like that. Visually, you can see it, we feel it, and we're going into the wind as well. You can see my heart rate has gone up about 6, 8, 7 beats. That's really why I use the monitor periodically to just see, is what I'm feeling real, see what your gauges are. You can see the effort is going up because the conditions are changing. So that's where Bob is pulling out of the line. He waves Mary up. And that's the way to do that. Instead of just letting a gap open, he pulled out so Mary didn't have too much of a gap to close. He's had enough of Dan's pace. He's deciding to just back off a bit. See, Mary is drafting Dan very closely. So she's getting a full benefit. We're hitting all the green lights this morning. Dan's done, I guess. He pulls off. Mary goes to the front. At this point, I'm a bit concerned because I really didn't think that she should sit there because we're going into the wind. And this way she could save some energy. In a little bit, somebody has a flat. I mean, basically we heard, ow! I'm hoping that the camera picks up some of that. Just listen. Right there.
Flat tire. Flat
mean, it was like, ow, we didn't get that, but you heard, psst. I mean, he lost
Yeah, I
air,
heard that.
everything completely. He got a cut on the sidewall, and his name is Michael. And as we stop here, he takes a while. They're over there. I think I turned the camera. There they are. They're working on his tire. But then we realized after a little while that there was another flat. So he put the tire in, not knowing he had a cut, and the tube came through the cut on the tire. So that blew. So then we went there. Paul and I went up there to help them. I think I turned the camera off here. So this is after the flat has been fixed. We rode for a while without the camera being on because we had to chase because Victor took off right after the flat was fixed. So we had to chase down so we're more focused and I didn't get a chance to turn it on. So here, a few miles down the road, Paul has the camera. We're coming to the light. We're gonna be turning left. The guy who had the flat is up there on the left with the white jersey in front of Al. Right there. It's Michael. The light changes, and then as I go through, I didn't clip in successfully, so I used my right leg that's clipped in to go ahead and get in and then re-clip right there. I don't put too much force on my pedals when I'm clipping in. You don't need to. You shouldn't have to. Dan and I are chatting, we're talking about his ride. They just rode in Colorado. So then we realized that these guys are serious. I guess the warm-up is over and everybody takes off, so I go ahead and get in the proper gear and ride up there. We're heading north. The wind's coming from the left and behind us. More from the left than anything. Got it dubbed down appropriately because that's kind of what we heard. You know, you couldn't really have a conversation too well. The wind was everywhere. It seemed louder than normal on this ride. You can hear it. That's the back of my bandana, kind of like El Pirata used to use. So you can see we're doing about, 34 kilometers an hour on a 1% grade with the wind blowing from the left. That southwesterly wind was serious, more for the west than anything. These guys are trying to turn here. We're just going straight. We just continue rolling. And this road is up and down. Right now it says 0, but you know, you get 0 to -2 and so forth. But look at the speeds. So the effort's a little harder. I've got my cadence high. Adjusting my strap. Getting ready for business here. I stayed close to the white line for the same reason I mentioned earlier. I want to see around these guys. The speeds are changing. That's another reason I've got my cadence up. Just to handle the yo-yo effect. You can see it's going to in the 80s now. The road's going up here. It may not register, but it's going on. Now it says 1. You feel it more than anything, and that's what matters when you're riding. As you begin to feel the grade, find proper gear. Don't get bogged down. Don't strain your back. Because when the gear's too big, those muscles in your back start to ache if you stay in the wrong gear too long. Remember that. And when you're in a group where the speed's like this, 40, 42 kilometers an hour, and it's going to stay there, then you want to find the proper gear, let's say a 5317, 5316, depending on what cadences you like to do. If you can handle the gear and you want to draft closely so you can reduce your drag and your effort. Because if the speed's going to stay there, you got to get a rhythm. Because it's not temporary. You're not accelerating. You're cruising. You're maintaining. You can see my cadence right now is at 90. We're probably going up a slight grade here. See Dan's power. It's a grade. So it's on. We're working. There's no conversating. There's no nothing here. We're riding. That's what's happening here. So you got to get used to this. As you can see, the speed's going up and down. Dan came along. So I think this is where he may have asked me something, because I remember I was trying to tell them right turn and I did it at the wrong time. I think that's when he came up and asked me, you know, what were you calling out to them? Because he couldn't hear me very well with this wind. So I corrected myself and told him, no, that's not the turn. We're holding 40 kilometers an hour, so you got to find a gear that you can stay in at that speed, so you're not spinning your wheels or dragging what I call, an anvil per se. That's the street I thought we're going to turn on mistakenly. That's why Dan had come up to ask me, what were you telling them? And I told him, no, I messed up. The turn is a few kilometers up the road. I think this is where yeah, that's what he was asking me here. Yeah, I thought it was early. I told him, I said, yeah, I messed up. He laughed. But in a little while, I've been holding this back. For those of you who stayed in the video at this point, these boys launch an attack while I'm pulling up some climbs. And we start to play. Because basically, I decided to just maintain and not let them rest. And I will walk you through it as it occurs. I think you will find it very interesting. It's consistent with everything I've been talking about on the channel. This is after we get off this road. It was not an attack that was basically planned because I was pulling. These guys just like to attack climbs. That's what they do. I'm aware of that. That's how they ride. So I decided that, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change a little something here and see who can hang with it. So we start to play like that. That's the fun thing about group rides. But right now we're working. And because I'm in the draft, you can see I'm in the top of zone 2, getting into zone 3 right here. I'm following Alan. You see where Dan is? That is a great spot to be in this condition, because the wind's blowing from the left mostly, so he's on my right. I can't do that with Alan because he's moving left, right, in different positions. So what I decided to do is, I said, I'm just going to stay in the middle, so when Alan moves to the white line, I get the draft. When he moves over to the other side, I just kind of coast a little bit. So we're turning right. That's the correct turn up there. I think we turn and then we stop because I think I thought they were going to regroup, but I think we stopped for a bit on the corner. Now this group has a habit of every major turn that's gonna, because we could have gone straight and now we're going right. And what they usually do is they'll stop. So they stop and I stop over there. Paul moves up here because there's more room over there on the right. He didn't want to stop on that corner. And I'm not sure why they're stopping. I guess they're trying to maybe wait for Mary and some of the other guys that are off the pace. I think that's what it is, just temporarily. But it wasn't announced or anything, but that's just something they do. So we move up, and
I said, this is a better spot.
yeah, so Paul tells Victor it's a better spot. Victor was giving Mike a hard time because Mike had stopped. Mike over there with the jersey. Victor just pushing and messing around. Mike had stopped in the middle of the road, and some driver was annoyed.
Okay?
So I'm throwing some, it looks like sharp
Be careful.
objects or something. I'm throwing them in the grass, so there's nothing there.
So are we gonna wait for them, or what are we doing?
So I don't know if we're waiting or not, and then I see these two guys roll, so I guess we're
I
going.
don't know. You tell me.
I don't know. Dan, is this going? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so we're going. So we're just gonna go. So
All right, gentlemen.
because it's so far back. I mean, we were holding a hot pace back there. So I clip in and go. The Rafa jersey's a bit see-through, but I really like it in the hot weather. It needs a lot. You got to be careful. It's very fragile. It can get little what I call burrs or whatever. It can peel. If something sharp grabs it, you can pull the fabric easily. So you need to just treat it with kids' gloves. Nothing extra. I mean, you just need to be careful. Don't go stand next to a tree or something. Like a wood with splinters or something. Like a bench that might grab your jersey because it will ruin it. And they're not going to repair that. There's certain things that don't repair. Now I'm watching these two guys, and what's happening is at this point I noticed that Victor likes to attack the hills. I already know that. We're talking. We're going to Keenan cut up. I think this is where Victor will pull off the front, and I hear him tell Mike that there are some climbs coming. So I think he wanted to just take a break so he could do a pure interval later or whatever. I heard that. It's not a problem for me. I'm behind them here, so I end up in second place shortly. You will see. Victor will pull off, and then Mike is surprised that he's pulling off so early, and then he tells Mike there are hills coming. And I think Paul may have heard it because when I begin my pull, Paul says, there's a big hill up there. I go, yeah, I see it. I've always talked about it. It's a group ride. Everybody's got a goal, so I don't worry about it. It's not a race. So I know that's where Victor is pulling off, and the camera doesn't show it, but he tells Mike that there are hills coming. And now he waves us through. So I don't really mind. I'm here for a workout because I'm feeling really good today. And so I want to work out. So I don't care if I get to the front in the hills before they do their attacks or whatever. So at this point, we resume. The wind is now coming from our right, south wind, and then we've got partial tailwind, because this road changes direction. It says northeast, so we're not going perfectly east. You hear it. You can see my bandana flipping behind it. That bandana ended up being so comfortable. I ended up, when I got home, I looked on the label, because I've had the bandana for a while, but I had not used it much. I looked on the label, got the name of the company, went and looked at their site, and I'm going to try to grab a couple more. So, we're going at a good pace here for the conditions. And I've got in the back of my mind that Victor did say, there are some hills coming, and I know how he likes to ride those hills. So I expected him to launch attacks on the hills. Well, he didn't on the first two big ones, but he did it on the last hill, which was not as intense as the ones that we had passed. You'll see. I'm in a 53.19 at this point. My cadence is in the mid-90s, thereabout. That's the gearing I'm riding. Because Victor had mentioned there are hills coming, so I'm keeping my legs supple to be ready for those hills. So I spent most of the time on this part of the ride in the 19 and the 17. Right here, this is a slight grade. Yep. I could just tell by my body language that the grade was kicking in, because as the grade kicks in, I try to relax more and I power through the pedal. So Mike pulls off and I go, and you hear Paul tell me that there's a big hill ahead. I say, yeah, I see it. It's very, the camera doesn't do it justice. It's imposing and then it goes left. And in my mind, what I'm expecting Victor and them to attack on one of these climbs. So I've decided, okay, at this point, I've already decided that when they attack, I am not going to go with the attack unless Paul is in the attack, because Paul is still trying to get his cycling legs back after his time off. So I've decided that if he's there, I'll go with them. If not, I will hold the group pace, but I will not slow down when they are resting. That's my plan. This is what I'm talking about. Everybody needs to have a plan. So when you drop somebody in the group, don't pat yourself in the back, because you're going to see what happens on this ride. It gets very interesting. So I get dropped, but I've got my plan, and I stick with my plan. And I want you guys to see it develop. That's what I mean. It doesn't matter if you get dropped, as long as you have a plan. And Victor and I talked about the same topic, not about what happened here, but when we rode together on Sunday after the ride. We're just chatting, because he lives relatively close to where I am. He's within a few miles of where I live. And so we rode together after the ride, and we're talking about training and different things. So that's the first climb. It's kind of going back to zero. And look ahead, there's another one. I don't think they attacked on that one. I think I did 2 climbs before they attacked. I hope I didn't lose count here. So all I'm doing here, I'm making sure that I'm riding at a cadence I can hold forever. And I don't even know if I took a drink. I don't know if I needed a drink. But just look how relaxed I am. Just my legs. If you look at my back, there is no side-to-side movement. This is a long climb here. And the length of the climb doesn't matter. You know, Victor and I talked about it after Sunday's ride. If you're riding the right gears, any climb, you can work on any climb. So we use larger gears. We're in a 53. I'm riding a 53-19 or something like that. Or 53-23. Not sure what I'm in there. This is a climb. It's more than 1%. I keep saying 1% and it goes to 0. This thing is more. Yeah, now we've seen something. It's more than 1%. I'm staying to the right so Paul can get a bit of a draft, because the wind is coming from the right. So it levels off here a little bit. And so I'm still surprised nobody has attacked, because Victor did mention there are hills coming. So they know this route, and what they like to do is work hard. Victor likes to work hard on the hill. And here he comes. So Victor goes. I have no intention of going. I already got my plan now. That's Michael who had the flat. Michael goes with it. I'm waiting to see who else comes. I'm still holding my pace. Look at my effort. Then Mike goes. Then Paul goes. Then Dan goes. And then I think Alan comes. And I know now I'm looking for my Paul. And so he doesn't, you see right there, I pick it up a little bit. Just to finish. Just to kind of, because I expected Paul to be there. So when I realized that was it, I looked back. I saw him. And you will see when I back off so he can get closer to me. Because he's there. So I look again, and then right there I let off a little bit. I start to soft pedal.
I'm just soft pedaling. I mean, looking, he know that. I tap. I let him know. Come on. At this point, I think Paul has ridden with me enough to where he knows. You know, we talk about this stuff long before I open the channel. So he knows. We're just going to keep going because I know they got to rest. Because I was in zone 4 on the climb, about 168 beats per minute. Nowhere near my maximum effort per se. And they came around sprinting like I was standing still. I know how they ride. I know they're going to need to take a break. And I am not going to let off my pace. So when they're trying to rest, I'm going to keep my pace. And you guys are going to see it. They're right up the road there. I want you to keep your eye there. Where that construction sign is, like an orange sign. The last person is there. With the wide angle, it appears further than it is. But, you know, they're probably about eighth of a mile or so ahead, maybe 250 meters or something like that. I'm trying not to ride too hard, but I don't want to ride away from Paul. Because Paul has not been doing this kind of riding for 3 weeks. And it takes a while for the body to get acclimated with this kind of riding. Because we did our winter stuff and then we're supposed to get into this and then he got ill. So he's on my wheel, he's closer, I can sense him. There's a turn coming up. If you look in the distance, there's somebody there, right there. They're turning on the right. So I know they're turning. This is it's called the, I think it's Koenig Cutoff. This is a cutoff road that would take you to Koenig or Hornier. I think it's Hornier Cutoff.
Okay.
This road, you can go to Hornier and Egypt on this road.
I'm good.
So I asked him if he's okay. He says he's good. I resume. They're right there. They're resting. They're not waiting for us. They're resting because of the effort that they have done, because Victor now has turned off the power and everybody's queuing up behind him. And my plan is to just continue what I've been doing. This road is called Koenig Cutoff. So they're right there. You can see them. That's their customary thing. They go very hard and then they back off. And so what I decided to do is I'm just going to ride past them. And I expect the egos to kick in. I'm about 8 beats below where I was when they attacked. So I'm well aware of that. I tapped to let Paul know. I was thinking he was going to follow me. What he does is he goes to the back of the group. He wants to stay and film. Because at this point, I don't know what's going on behind me. I just ride past these guys. They're taking a break. And I'm like, okay, no, guys, we're not resting here. And now you see somebody is going to pick up when I watch. It's almost like the peloton catching up to people that break away. That's kind of what I'm simulating here. But it's not over yet. This is just the beginning. As I sit up there, I start to edge. You see my heart rate went up like 3 beats, now 4 beats. I'm edging the effort back to where it was when I was climbing back there when they attacked. Because if they're trying to rest, I want to get them back to that effort and see if they can rest there. See my heart rate going up? That's what I'm doing. I got my cadence moving. I'm in the 80s. And I'm just, this road is going up. The Koenig Cutoff road is no slouch. It's up and down. I'm on the right. Everybody's following me. So basically what I'm doing is I'm saying we're going to rest at the group's pace. And you're going to see what happens. So I maintain it. And in a little while, Victor comes up to talk to me. And we're chatting. We chat for a little bit. But I kept the pace the same. And then after a while, I was not aware of it. And he drifted back. Alan's talking to Paul back here. It may look like I'm not doing much, but I'm keeping the effort in my sweet spot. That's where I was climbing when they attacked. I decided I'm gonna keep it at the same pace. I didn't want to slow it down too much. Because when you attack on a climb, depending on what gearing you were using or whatever, you need a bit of a respite. And what I'm trying to do is to keep it at an effort where people don't get a lot of recovery. So if you look in the distance, this road is going to go up. At this point, I'm not concerned about anybody doing whatever because I'm feeling really good here and I'm ready for anything. So I'm pointing out hazards and everything on that shoulder. Usually this road, you know, they're spread out here, but usually we ride the shoulder. This is where Victor moves up. And I don't know what I don't remember what we're talking about, but it's something casual. We're just kind of chatting. He moves up, I stand up to stretch my legs. The road goes up. And you can see we get a bit of a gap. We're not really trying to gap it. So I sit down, I get alongside him. I am not aware of what is going on behind me. I rode up just so I could keep the effort the same. You can see my heart rate 165 thereabout, the sweet spot for me. And we're just walking. We're talking actually. The road is gonna go up again. I saw more when I started to look at the clips than what I experienced when I was out there at this point of the ride. I was not aware of what was going on behind me. But I was just making sure I kept the effort and pressed on the pedals. Right there, if you see my body language, the road's going up. I'm putting force into those pedals. I did not downshift. See, Dan is standing. He's looking for a rhythm. And Victor and I are talking. I look over at him. We're chatting about something. So even though we're talking, I'm still on my plan. My plan is to keep the group pace. The group pace, as far as I'm concerned, was the pace I was doing at the time when everybody attacked. So I'm saying, so then when I watched the clips, right about here, I think Victor slides back. Yeah, this was what I was surprised about. I remember him sliding back, but what I did not remember was how much gap. Watch, I am not riding away. Look at my heart rate. It's actually 159. I'm just riding, and I'm pulling away. And I did not realize that when I was riding on the road because I didn't look back. I just kept riding. I could hear them talking. I heard Victor drift back and they were chatting. But then I didn't realize there was that much distance between us because I'm not really going even super hard. It's like right at 160, 159. So I'm kind of surprised. I'm just riding. You see, look at the distance. I remember the truck that pulls out, that dump truck up there. I remember it pulling out. I even gave warning, thinking they were right on my wheel. And then Alan goes left to get up to me. Alan's bridging, and now they're all coming. At this point, all I'm looking for now is to see another attack. My plan is to go with the next attack. I even opened my jersey to kind of cool myself down, you know. So Alan goes, Mike goes, then I see Victor go. I move over to the left a little bit so I can have room. Right there. I'm already in the gear I need. I'm probably in a 16 or something like that. I don't use much more than that on this kind of road. But my plan this time is if somebody attacks, I'm going to counter attack. That's my plan. Right after this driveway here, the speed starts to pick up. notice I'm on the left, and Victor goes right there. I'm on him. Boom! Alan's trying to go. I'm like, it's mine. And as soon as I get up there, then I realize he's not continuing to accelerate, so I, boom, went left. Right there. Just kick it to another notch. Now I was carrying so much speed when I hit that curve, I had the wrong line. I was too far outside. And it's a bank corner. So I went across the road because there was no car coming. I had to go that way. And so I lost some speed there. And then Victor went, and then Alan took off right there. And I was like, we're coming to a highway down there. There's the replay. This was a big gear attack here. I jumped on that gear. I was probably in a 15 or 14, and I was on that guy. Alan was accelerating, but it didn't matter to me. I got on. Once I got up there, I realized he wasn't going as fast, and so it was already hard. So I was like, it's hard for everybody. Let's do it. So I went left. I probably hit about 30 miles an hour. And I just carried the wrong line. Yeah, 51 kilometers an hour thereabouts. I hit the wrong line, and that curve is banked. And then I lost some speed. You can see me, I tried to lean the bike. The bike was pulling to the outside. So I had to go with that. And we had another sprint after this, but Paul had the camera, and I wasn't interested in holding the camera later on. So we played. It was a fun ride, and there's more to come on this ride. So at this point here, I know that we're going to be turning left. There's an intersection there. I tell Alan, I yell at him and say left turn. And he goes across the road, it's clear, but then he thinks we're going to go right. I told him, no, we're going left. So he turns right, and I told him, turn left. Yeah. So there's no cars coming or anything. This is 2854, so now we're going to Montgomery. And so Victor rolls up next to me, and he's like, man, that was a good sprint, And it's like, I guess we surprised him. So we chatted for a little bit, and after a little while, I took the lead. So I was in a large gear. I don't think I even broke 100 RPMs. So right here we're regrouping, we've got a lot of people back there. Paul's right here with the camera. And so we chat for a little bit, and then after a little while, I just go ahead and start pulling again. So when I pulled out to go around Victor, it may not on the camera because the camera angle is so far away. It's a lot of effort to go around somebody at 51 kilometers an hour. They're already doing 46 because we're already going hard. And so what you want to do is you want to make sure you make it explosive and make it short so you can sit down and work it. And it's just that curve was banked differently, and my line that I took was not very good because I went left right before the curve appeared. If I had been on the inside, I would have been able to carry more speed. So I had to slow down earlier than I planned, but it was so much fun. And that's what we're talking about. Victor's drifting back here, and I continue to pull. So that's what Victor and I was talking about. He was saying, you guys are pretty fast, you guys, that's cool, even when Alan took off. That's what we're talking about.
Sounds good.
He said, we're going to have to do more of that, something like that. And we did, So I think somewhere along the line here, Dan ends up turning. I think Dan may have turned on Neil Route or Raven Chapel or one of them, because I don't think he had enough time to ride with us on this day. That may be what he's telling Victor that he's setting up, because he did not get to the store with us. We didn't film the stop on this ride because we had so much activity. Remember now, I climbed, they attacked, I kept my effort, I went to the front, we played, I attacked, Victor attacked, I counterattacked, and I'm still pulling here. To be able to do that, you need a strong base. That's why you guys saw us riding those cold winter rides, the wet winter rides. That's what builds your engine to where you can recover so quickly and be able to go again. That's what you're watching. Okay, it's not magical, there's no shortcuts. It doesn't matter what talent you have, you still have to develop it. That's what it takes. You've got to do that kind of work to be able to recover like that, because this ride was very hard. The wind's coming from the left right now. We're moving at 42 kilometers an hour after all the stuff we've been doing. This is why I push bass for everybody I work with. If you don't have a good bass, your fast won't be very fast. And then once you go fast, you would need a lot of time to catch your breath. But we're back to riding. I try to use these videos to instead of just making a video and telling you about stuff, I use these rides so you actually see it. And I'm glad that we're able to bring these clips to you. Because when I was competing, I didn't have this. So Alan takes over from me. I just stayed in that position. I didn't flick my arm or anything. He just decided to go to the front. So I decided I'm going to just drift. So I drift all the way to the back. Paul's here with the camera. There's Michael and other people are behind Paul. I think in a little while Paul will turn the camera around. We're headed towards Montgomery. There's a store called Taco Corner. That's where we're going to get water and so forth. And we're going to head out to Dacus. It is not possible to do every minute of the ride. It just wouldn't be practical. That's Michael behind Paul, that's Victor, and I'm behind Victor. So Victor's recuperating back there, rolling whatever gears he's in. This road is very deceiving. It is flat, it's rolling, and so yeah, like I said, one. So you're going up and down, you'll feel it more than anything. And in some parts of it get to 2 to 3%. And with the way we're riding it, and the gears that we're using, you feel that if you're not prepared, it takes a toll on you. These are the roads that Paul and I rode in the winter. That's why we would come up north. And I'm glad we did. When we're getting ready for the RBC Grand Final, we rode these. The new pavement here, there was a school nearby, and they created a turn lane in both directions for traffic entering. You can see the left turn there. And the nice thing was they kept our shoulder. A lot of times when they do this nonsense, they use our shoulder as a lane. So I'm glad they didn't do that here. And I think part of the reason is that there are cyclists on this road every day of the week. This is a heavily traveled route. 2854 is the main artery to Richards, Anderson, for people that live in our part of North Harris County, North Houston area. Listen to that wind. I have dubbed it to where it is tolerable, but that's what we're experiencing. You couldn't do much talking on this ride. You had to be right next to the person. And we just don't worry about it. We enjoy it and we just ride. The wind's out there, it's going to do its thing. You just ride, you will get stronger. This part of the ride, I think pretty soon Paul pulls out, because this effort has been tough. When we were doing all that stuff back there, he spent a lot of energy trying to stay within camera range of what was going on. And he told me, he said, I needed to take a break from this room. So at this point here, Paul is in third position here. We have Mike here. I'm sitting in the back. In a short while, the guys that are in front of me start moving up through the group. Victor moves to the left, and so forth and so on. And then Paul tries to get me the camera, but the position I'm in, I'm not close to him, because he ends up on the road, the main lane, and I'm on the edge of I'm on the shoulder. And I didn't want to slow down, go get the camera, all that. So I just decided to just keep riding. So the other sprint that occurs here, you guys don't get to see that, but it was a lot of fun. But after that, we basically rolled into town on Jackson Road, and that is on film. And at that point, I think Victor ended up staying behind with Adam, who was riding slower, and so he stayed back with him. So on Jackson Road, it's just Mike, Alan, Paul, myself, the two Pauls, and then we break apart a little bit. But the entire group does not stay together after this stretch. We split in two. I think it's somewhere here where Alan will soon pull off. Right there, he looks behind for traffic because he's going to get in the main lane. And then Mike takes over, but then look, Victor comes to the left. That's Michael on the right. And Paul tries to give me the camera. Look at where I am. He was on the road. So he let us go here, and we continue to ride. Because this road is undulating. And this has been a hard ride. And Paul's 3-week hiatus set his fitness back a bit. So you have to give yourself the time to get back to your top condition when stuff happens. So right about here, he cut the filming. And then here is where we've regrouped. That's Mary and Paul right there. And we're waiting. We're going to pull over here to wait for some riders that are behind. This is on Jackson Road. I'm messing around with the camera here. We're going to pull over right there to wait. But then nobody really was within sight. So we decided to just continue the effort. We waited for a bit, but we didn't see anybody, and nobody had communicated with us, so we just went. At this point, we resumed the effort. I don't know what I'm doing there, but I was having fun on this ride. So I'm bridging up to Mike here. There's some riders. After we waited over there, some riders left. We always kind of trickle out, and so we're catching up. But basically the way they work is after the ride, everybody goes to the Group B app and informs the team that everybody, made it home and so forth if you were not with the front group. So we all knew that everybody was okay. That's the way they do it. So I'm riding up the mic here. The wind is coming from in our face and to the right. We're going south, and the wind is blowing southwest, more from the west than the south. So I ride up the mic. Alan is on my wheel, and in a little while, I think he goes around us, but he's not taking a pull. He basically accelerates and gaps us. We're closing the gap. Mike is trying to close the gap with 3 or 4 riders up there. I think it's Mary, Paul, and somebody else. I have the camera here. So Alan takes off and he gaps Mike. But Mike, being experienced, knows that he's just going to hold his pace. Because you can see Alan's coasting up there. So you don't want to chase everything. Because he did that acceleration and now he's coasting. So Mike is just still riding and pulling us back to, that's Paul up there. And Mary is in front of Paul, I believe. And I think Paul Ilonga is on my wheel.
Not Mike.
I told Mike, good job, gave me thumbs up. So Alan's up the road. And at this point in the ride now, this group is gonna break up a bit because we're going to start increasing the effort. Since Alan's off the front, we're gonna chase. Right now, I'm just observing. I believe Michael is, I think he's behind. I think he's on my wheel. Let's see who's here. No, Michael's up there. Michael's pulling. He pulls off. Mary takes over. I believe, is it Mary? Let's see if I can get a better shot. Michael seems to move back. Oh, Paul is coming. Okay. Now, Alan is still out there. I believe he's in front of the group. I think, the group rolls up to him. So I believe Alan is pulling right now. Yeah, Alan is pulling. Now, Alan is actually behind Michael. I don't know how they swapped positions, but they did. So that's Michael, then Alan, and then Mary, then Paul, and Mike, myself, and then Paul Ilonga is behind me. So now Mike goes. So Mike launches an attack. I'm sitting back here just watching. The group is cruising at 39, 40 kilometers an hour. Mike launches an attack, so he's probably doing about 45 or more. Alan is there, so you got Mike, Michael, and Alan off the front. Mary's sitting here. I decided to ride up there. If you look at my cadence, I'm probably in a 53.16. Based on the speed, I'm just estimating the way I ride. So I kick it up 45, 46 kilometers an hour and just ride up to these guys. That's the HIIT stuff I'm talking about. Because you know you can do that, you don't think about it, you just do it, it's instinct. So I ride up and I sit here. And for the rest of this, we're just attacking, and I mean, it's really a lot of fun. It's like, it felt like a race. The speed was never steady. I'm keeping my eye on the white line because that's the smoothest part of this road. Jackson Road is nice and quiet, but it has a lot of chewed up lanes where the right tire of cars. So Alan attacks. And I notice nobody does anything, so I wait. So I know I can close up. Michael's hands are numb, he's shaking. I just have the camera on the left side of my brake hood. I'm just holding it. I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just riding. I move over to get a shot from time to time, but that's it. I see Alan up there. Nobody's doing anything. I know at some point I ride up there. I'm not sure if it's right here. This road is undulating. It says 1%. You'll feel it at this effort. If we've got the wind, we're going into the headwind. It's like a head crosswind. I was hoping somebody would ride up to Allen, and I think after a while, I don't know if it's here, I end up closing the gap. And right here, I just decide, okay, nobody's going to close it. I know I can close it. I'll go ahead and increase my effort. And heart rate monitors really work well in these situations where you're riding hard for sustained periods of time. You can see my heart rate go up. That's a clear indicator of the effort. Doesn't matter whether it's hot, cold, whatever. It's still telling you you're working harder than you were before. I just ride up to Allen. I don't know if I go past him or I sit on his wheel. Old habits die hard. So now I ride up there, so Michael comes through, but he's really not putting out that much. I can feel that. So I get on Mike's wheel here. Because I was actually going to probably sit on Allen. Maybe that's why Michael went around. I'm messing with the camera. I just spun it around. I'm trying to get it. The gimbal looked all cockeyed, but it seems like it was doing its job. I spun it around to help it with the calibration. That's what I did there. This is hard. We're going into a headwind, and we've got wind from the right. Now, we have a lot of trees and stuff on the right that's blocking quite a bit of that wind, but we still have a headwind. And the entire ride has been hard. This is 4 hours and 36 minutes, 4:37:04 into the ride. And we've been driving this entire ride. 29C feels about 25-ish. It didn't feel too bad. Low humidity made a big difference. So Michael is not firing. I think he pulled off. Okay, so then Mike takes over. So I'm on Mike's wheel. So there's only the 4 of us here now because the 2 Pauls and Mary are behind us in their own little pace line there. We were grouped with them later on, but that's off camera. So we just continue to ride. We're heading towards town. The reason we call these roads the open roads, you can ride 7 to 10 kilometers, no intersection, no stop sign. So you have to ride. There's nowhere to hide. I think this is me here pulling, take my place at the front. And then I start to mess with the camera because we're going hard, we're going fast, but I just felt really good. So I was messing with the camera here. I think I'd flip it around. Here, yeah. And I'm basically breathing through my mouth. I don't know how you guys breathe, but I don't know if I mentioned on the channel. When you're going hard, you can take in more air through your mouth. And you see how I'm doing? It's like, kind of like that. If you look at my lips, yeah, I don't want bugs getting in there. So you don't want your mouth wide open. You know, because I don't know, somehow those bugs find their way. You ride long enough, you'll get them hitting you in the face and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, Michael takes off. This is Allen on his wheel. I'm waiting to see if Mike will come around, and he does. I'll slip on his wheel. A lot of times when you're riding, if somebody gets tired, they may not come through. So you got to be aware of that. And Mike is dropping off because we're coming to an intersection, and he's backing off. For me, at this point, he was backing off. He was backing off too much. And I didn't want to have to chase again, because that's all we've been doing. So So we're going straight. I asked, he said we're going straight. And so I just go ahead and ride up because there's no car on the left. It's a 3-way stop sign. I decided to ride up to those guys. This is a long stretch with no intersections and it's undulating. You can see I'm not really working that hard. So my body has adapted to the riding we did on this day to where we're still going hard, but it was feeling tolerable. I had to tell Michael, I don't know if it's on film, I think I may have edited that. You can see Michael up there in the main lane. I told him, I said, just use the shoulder. I don't know if it's on there, it may be. I had to tell him, use the shoulder because, you know, there's a lot of cars out here, and the shoulder's fine. So I don't know why they were riding in the main lane. I think it's here. It goes back, he will come back. Because there's a car coming and car taps his horn. It wasn't close or anything. But he kept going on the shoulder and going back on the road. I don't know what he was doing. So you don't want to do that. You got to decide where you're going to ride. You're going to ride in the main lane, stay there. You're going to do the shoulder, stay on the shoulder. So the drivers know what you're doing. See the drifting back again.
Use the shoulder.
Yeah, so the guy tapped his horn. So I told him, use the shoulder. I don't know why he was doing that. He rides out here all the time, So I roll up to them and just sat in basically for the rest of the ride. So I hope that you guys and girls got a chance to get some K's in this weekend because we had a beautiful, glorious day with low humidity, which is rare around here. So there you see Michael checked and then moved over. So this is what we did on Saturday. If you didn't get a chance to get out there, get on the trainer, stay active, keep those doctors fired. Get your K's.